How did Hellar stay under the radar for months and keep training police officer candidates here in Linfield?
On your marks, get set, go!
Tonight, a WBZ exclusive, raising questions about the commission designed to police the police. WBZ discovered that an officer forced out of a police department held onto a job teaching new recruits.
A racist lying cop. Who would have figured? Now, I know I'm not supposed to talk about the racist part, but the lies, why wouldn't he lie? The Supreme Court told him it's okay to.
Hundreds of police officers of tomorrow are trained at this Linfield Academy.
Now, be honest with me, man. Don't lie like cops. How many of you knew we would be going to the great state of Massachusetts today? I've never been that far north. I'm a Georgia boy. But we have another wanderer on the list, so let's go and see what Mr. Hellar is talking about. That is such a beautiful scene. Meet Sergeant Tom, or Thomas if you prefer Keller. That would be Hellar, sir. Stoneham PD. Former Stoneham PD. Stoneham, Massachusetts. I'm hearing it's about 9 miles from downtown Boston. You know, Bostonians have one of these accents that I personally am fond of. The British do too. I think maybe the Brits have my favorite accent, and I say that with all fondness. So I was scrolling today, man, and beyond the fact that down here in Miami we have an officer, apparently this is maybe even a year old or older, man, that had gotten drunk with some of his partners, and because he is a superior and they were all hanging out earlier, he rear-ended someone in traffic down here, and I guess while that's going on, he called his homeboys, cop homeboys, thug homeboys, gang homeboys, and one of them, one of his subordinates came and picked him up from the scene. There's video of it, and I'm not gonna make a video of that, man. Miami has so much foolishness going on, but I will say I do run into a lot of decent, great cops out here. I was in Pembroke Pines the other day, and I ran into 2 officers. One training officer, not officer in training, but he's a training officer, and his captain, man. And I didn't record, video record it, but I audio recorded. I plan to release that. But be looking for that, man. It won't be a lot to see, but it will be. I like to highlight great interactions too, and I have several of those. I also have more cop watching videos, man. I just need to upload them, guys. So there is content. I just need to do it. But again, today we're in Massachusetts, so we're going to listen to a little bit of this story, and then I'm going to come back, you know how I do, and talk more about it on the end, get you guys' thoughts and opinions. So without further ado, I will say this guy is good at, he's like me. He's not really a fan of the camera. Couldn't really find many pictures and videos of him.
Tonight, a WBZ exclusive, raising questions about the commission designed to police the police. WBZ discovered that an officer forced out of a police department held onto a job teaching new recruits. WBZ's Louisa Moeller shows us how the commission missed this until she started asking questions.
Hundreds of police officers of tomorrow are trained at this Linfield Academy, run by the Municipal Police Training Committee, or MPTC. And up until recently, WBZ discovered an instructor working here with a history of complaints against him. This is former Stoneham Police Sergeant Thomas Hellar. Last year, an independent investigator hired by the town concluded that he used the N-word when recounting a story to department officers on approximately half a dozen occasions. The investigator also concluded that Hellar used an ethnic slur directed at another officer. And Hellar was investigated for making an inappropriate comment regarding a female accident victim. The investigator sustained that too. Hellar resigned in lieu of discipline from Stoneham Police last December, but kept his other job here as an MPTC instructor for months.
It's shocking that he'd still be employed in some capacity as a police officer.
Shocking to who? Young Daniel, son, if you don't mind me asking. There are multiple things I like to be clear about, man. Number one, how are you guys doing, man? It is a humid night in Miami today. I'm hanging out, man, looking at the beautiful palm trees and stuff, making this video. I pray all is well where you're at. The first thing I want to be clear about is nobody is shocked that this guy is bouncing around departments of the local PD, brother. That's the first thing I want to be clear about. The second thing I want to be absolutely clear about is I am 100,000% anti any racism. I want to get into that more. Maybe I will, but I'll give you a real quick example. I always had I was triggered and had an antenna up for the phrase white boy, early on and in my youth. I am as black African-American as any black African-American, and I do deal with the complexities of being that in our country. And I'm nobody's victim, so I don't want to portray that, probably paint that picture either. But knowing that, it always occurred to me that, and I grew up around, and even to this day, I'm around white men and white guys they refer to themselves as white boys, the white boys. But for me, that was always just absolutely out of pocket. It made no sense. And it was, even if people agreed to it, it just was like, senseless to me, irresponsible, and I'll tell you why. There's no white guy alive in any context that's gonna walk up to me and call me a black boy. So it just never made sense, even if white men still to this day agree with that terminology. To me, it never made sense for me as a full-blooded African-American to refer to any of my... And when I start talking like that, I'm trying to be disrespectful. So once again, the second thing I want to be absolutely clear about is I am 1,000% anti-racism. That also includes ignoring the fact that it exists and the problems that it causes. The third thing I want to be clear about is I said this guy's major offense is violation of federal RICO acts. Now, I'm being only a little hyperbolic there because I don't know the ins and outs of the Federal RICO Act. But I think the gist of it may be something along the lines of conspiring with a group of people to commit a crime, a felony offense or something like that, right? I think so. And when you guys are continuously conspiring to keep not just bad, but criminal cops, like you're conspiring to cover up crimes and you're conspiring to keep these criminal offending cops employed in our justice system. You know what I mean? Every day, I think that is a federal violation. That has to be a violation of some American federal law. And I think that going forward, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say 10 out of 10 of these officers are probably going to be indicted in my court. In the court of we the people as guilty of federal RICO violations. So I am being hyperbolic, but I absolutely am not being hyperbolic, because if you conspire with others to violate federal laws and even some state laws, because they got people on state RICOs, then yes, you are guilty of RICO. So those three things, and I know we're being a little long with it, so let's just get into my thoughts on the video, man, because there's so much. I'm gonna leave a little bit more of the video on the end, but you guys are gonna have to go watch this for yourself. Maybe you'll believe it and maybe you won't. This attorney seems to think that you won't. Well, y'all want to start at, man? Y'all want to start on who's that thing on that deck? Y'all see that movie? What's that movie Jamie Foxx playing? It's a very good movie too. The 12 Years a Slave, where they came to the house and then the house. I can't say that word for YouTube. The house Negro said, he seen Jamie Foxx coming through there all independently and with his chest out, like, who's that thing on that deck? Y'all want me to start there? Y'all want to start with I was thinking when they said he assaulted or slapped an insubordinate or something, like, whose verbiage was that? Did he say insubordinate or because, if you're going around slapping your coworkers, you probably seem like the type of person that would look at people like insubordinates, whether they're being insubordinate or whether you have the authority to call them insubordinate or not. It sounds like a high-minded person, but again, I don't know if that was that verbiage was the choice of the media or if that was his. I have no way of knowing. Do y'all want to start with what was the slur, the ethnic slur that he used? You know what I mean? Did he use an ethnic slur and say something insensitive or disrespectful? Allegedly, but they found him guilty. They sustained accusations about a woman, or was the ethnic slur what, the disparaging thing, in reference to his situation with a woman? I don't know, guy. This is one thing about this dude, man. He does not play about trying to ruin his career, right? So what you have here, man, is, and I'm speculating here, man. You either have, someone who throughout his entire life, or maybe just his professional career, has been allowed to have his way. Because this isn't a guy like in the last video, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that guy was only had one offense, but they weren't just piling up back to back with him. You know what I mean? I seen no record of that investigating that case. But this dude, he just bam, 3 strike. He's 3 striking. He's swinging and standing at the plate, striking himself out. I mean, listen, I've said this before. When thug cops, when that fraternal organization of blue line gangsters conspire against you, even if they should for justice sake, when they turn their backs on you and say we choose something else other than you, bro, you done rode the wave into the wrong ocean, homie, because cops don't turn their back on cops, and they turn their back on this guy. But they didn't, though. Was it all a charade? Yeah, this accusation is sustained. Yeah, this accusation is sustained. Yeah, this accusation is sustained. But now we get to the post. I'm going to leave a little bit of that on the end, maybe. I don't know, but I'll leave the link in the bio or in the description if I remember, Lord willing. If I don't, somebody will mention it, and then I'll put it in the comments. But you got to go watch this video, man, because they also have this thing called the post, right? So what they do is it's a system, you know what I mean? In my profession, I'm familiar with things like this, if not this one. So, but it's how they keep a track of officers' infractions. And the media, they said, we even went to our investigative journalist and asked him, like, does this make sense? Because what the investigative journalist found with this news organization is that when they checked the post, there had been nothing, even though this guy had sustained allegations and, infractions against him, there had been nothing put in this system, this post system, with which they manage their officers concerning this guy in the last year, right? You have to watch this, the video, they'll break it down to you. So what the officers are saying is, and the investigative journalist is saying when they ask him, hey man, officers get a lot of complaints against them, right? So before we put them into, our system that tracks officers, we then have to investigate these complaints to make sure that they aren't, fake complaints against our officers. They aren't fabricated complaints against our officers. They aren't made up. People just trying to get officers in trouble. And apparently, at a very minimum, it takes a year. So what that means is, while these officers are allegedly being investigated by their departments about the complaints made against them, who really believes that's happening? There's nothing in their records like when they have to get fired or they resign in lieu of being fired. So when they bounce to the next department, there's nothing in their record to say, hey, this is what's been going on in this person's, his or her professional career. No infractions, no nothing. But I guarantee you, when they get accommodations and stuff, they don't wait minimally a year to investigate it and see if the complimentary things that are said about the officers are good. So even though I'm rambling, I hope you get my point here. They have, I guarantee you, they sold that post thing to their local community as a reason they should be held for being transparent and accountable. But all they did was wave it in the air and say, look at what we're doing. We want y'all to know what's going on. We aren't doing anything corrupt over here. And then they threw it in the closet. Because you don't even document what's going on with your officers, and then you back that up by saying, well, we want to confirm that these complaints are serious and true and valid first. Man, get the hell out of here. When we got y'all on video violating rights and breaking laws, and you investigate yourself. So come on, man, y'all just shucking and jiving here. What he ended up doing, as you heard, he bounced to another segment of their department. And this is why I asked, was it a charade? Because y'all act like y'all were being accountable by holding this guy. But did you just tell him, hey, just chill out, man. It's in the news right now. It's going to go away. And then we're going to put you over there with a, you probably I didn't research this part. Probably didn't get any reduction in salary. If you did, it probably wasn't much. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that you got a raise, right? And now you're over here training incumbent officers. The officers that are going to go out on the street because your ass, I had to beat myself because of YouTube. Your ass can't go out on the street no more, your PA. So now you out here training officers to go out there. Let's trace our steps here and be a racist asshole. Yeah, I can't really say allegedly. Your people said you did it. They sustained the complaints. What else did you do? Help me out here. You out here slapping and assaulting your co-workers? Who the hell are you to be out here? You performing domestic physical discipline on other adults? Have you lost your damn mind? Mr. Timothy Hellar, I done forgot your damn name. Hellar. That's an author. I used to read his books. But Disgraced Former Sergeant Thomas, have you lost your damn mind, family? And third and foremost, what the hell did you say to that lady, man? I mean, I'm an innocent until type person, even if it's a despicable blue line terrorist thug. Allegations aren't enough for me. It's just how I live my life, because I don't want anybody to be able to accuse me of something and, you know, the public at large and even our judicial system assert that I'm guilty just because accusations are made. So, but sir, your cohorts found you guilty, so what am I to think? So then, therefore, what the hell did you say to that woman, dude? Like, ethical slur? What is it? I literally just learned from AI the difference between ethnicity and race. So what did you insult about her cultural background, sir? You know, I don't want to tie this in any regard to all white people, right? Just like I don't want to tie, you know, some of the more distasteful things, and obviously I'm being gracious with my word choice, that go on in black urban communities to all black people, because we can't. We know that there are black people who don't live in those communities or engage in those activities or advocate for them, right? And we know that all white people don't behave like this officer right here. But just like I tell my brothers and sisters in urban communities, it's not enough for us to quietly say we're against the violence and other things that are being perpetrated by very own people in our communities. It's not enough to quietly in our inner circles chat about these things. We ain't got to be loud and bold and marching on every occasion, but we have to use the influence that God has given us in our daily lives and our circles to say, like I said in the beginning of this vehicle, I am vehemently against these things that I privately stand against. We have to do those things publicly when the opportunities present themselves, and we also have to look for them. And so therefore I say to white people, don't just say, air quotes, racism doesn't exist. Don't just say, air quotes, racism is horrible if you will acknowledge that it exists. This guy was, and not just racism, just being a bigoted asshole, period, whether you're male or female. Don't just say that these things don't exist or they shouldn't exist. This guy felt comfortable behaving like this on a consistent basis around the people that he was, with on a consistent basis, that he had relationships with. Therefore, in some sense, at the very least, they were making him comfortable doing these things. Now, we know that cops don't give a damn about cops being immoral. You know what I mean? We know that cops don't give a damn about cops having no moral compass. But these cops also have families. They have wives. They have homeboys. They have friends that are not affiliated with their professional careers. Make sure if you're around people like that, even cops or otherwise, they don't feel comfortable being immoral and unethical like that in your presence, especially if you claim to stand against it. This officer right here, his major offense is violation of federal RICO acts. His minor offense is obviously violation of company severe policies, you know what I mean, and a lot of other stuff. Obviously, I find him guilty, man. Continue to raise awareness about these. That's this formal. Somebody needs. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you guys I'm gonna do it. Somebody needs to keep track of him and see where he wanders to next, because I promise you, this is not over. This is not a situation like the last video where it happened years and years ago and I was just rehashing it because I seen another gem in there. He just got outed a few days ago, so this week, you know what I mean, and they got rid of him again. So again, your cohorts, your buddies who back each other up no matter what are saying, we don't want anything to do with this guy. We don't co-sign his behavior. They done released another damn statement. But let's watch. Somebody keep up with this guy and see, you know what I mean, where he wanders to next, because we know how that blue line works. He will. These wanderers always wander. Shout out to Boston. We do not hold this against you. Like I said, it's one of my favorite accents, and I've heard you guys are human. So the good and the bad, but I've definitely heard wonderful things about the area. So Bostonians, y'all be safe, man. Stay warm. Damn, man. These blue line thugs. I'm out. I wasn't on no soapbox, man. I'm trying to encourage us, not just y'all. I'm trying to encourage us. I act like I know everything or come off as high-minded.
This is attorney Tim Burke, who is representing another former Stoneham officer who is suing the town of Stoneham and the department's former police chief, James McIntyre, for failing to investigate Hellar's alleged conduct, such as claims he physically assaulted an insubordinate officer.
Man, how could I forget one of the main points? Jack be nimble and Jack be quick. They didn't do anything about this officer's bad behavior until he started slapping up one of their own. Par for the course, I guess, right?
It resulted in an investigation almost 9 months afterwards, but only because we had insisted that this be done through our whistleblower letter.
Stoneham reported the investigation into Hellar and his resignation to the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, or POST, built to certify Massachusetts officers, investigate their conduct, and enhance public confidence in law enforcement. POST has a public database of officer complaints, but when we checked it in February, there was no record of a complaint against Hellar. And the line, "resigned in lieu of discipline," was added just days ago, the same day we reached out to POST about Hellar's case. So how did Hellar stay under the radar for months and keep training police officer candidates here in Linfield? The answer may lie with POST. The commission says it has not publicly posted any complaints from January of last year to the present. Is that a problem if you have a year's worth of complaints that maybe other agencies can't see?
No. It's no problem, sweetheart. Allowing the police to police themselves presents no threats, no hostilities, no nothing. It just allows terrorist thugs to continue to bully our communities, men, women, and children, and hold them hostage. Why would that be a problem for anyone?
We called Hellar and went to his house looking for a comment, but only found a closed door. And MPTC sent us this statement. In keeping with our deep commitment to upholding the core values that define our agency, the MPTC has revoked this instructor's certification to teach courses at our academies. Hellar was employed in February and only decertified after we started asking questions. We reached out to the former Stoneham chief, who did not respond to requests for comment, and the current chief declined to comment. Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
Well, earlier this evening, we received a statement from the Stoneham Police Department and the town, which reads in part, the town's actions were thorough and in accordance with post-commission requirements. There is no place for hateful language among the members of the Stoneham Police Department. When someone fails to meet those standards, they will be held accountable.
It's shocking that he'd still be employed in some capacity as a police officer, and more importantly, training other officers.
In violation of several RICO statutes, that is. Don't forget, if you like the videos, you can hit that thumbs up. You can share them. Hell, you can even subscribe to the channel. I'm out.